steel screams. Not clashes, screams. A blade slips between ribs. Warmth spills onto frozen ground. The snow darkens. Slowly, like ink, a warrior falls forward. Fingers claw at nothing. His last breath fogs the air. This is the moment every fighter imagines. The last stand, the reward. He expects Odin. Everyone does. A throne of spears, a roaring hall, endless mead and endless war. But Odin does not come. Instead, the air shifts. The battlefield goes quiet, not peaceful, just distant, as if the world has stepped back. She appears where the smoke thins. Gold catches the dying light. Armor gleams, not scarred, but deliberate. A cloak ripples like wings. Freya. Her eyes do not rush. They measure. She does not ask his name. She does not praise his courage. She simply reaches out, and the warrior is gone. Here is the truth, hidden beneath the songs. Valhalla was never guaranteed. The ancient poems say something colder, something most retellings erase. Half of the fallen do not go to Odin. Half are taken by Freya. Not as an afterthought, not as charity, as a right. The war goddess who is also a lover. The fertility queen who walks through corpses without flinching. And once that truth settles in, a darker question surfaces. If Odin is the god of war, why does he have to share the dead?
Unveil the legends.
Before the end of the world had a name, the gods already felt it coming. They sensed it in broken oaths, in wolves that grew too large, in children born wrong. Ragnarok wasn't a surprise, it was a countdown. Odin felt it deepest, not because he was wise, but because he was afraid. He is remembered as a noble king, a seeker of truth. But strip away the poetry, and another figure remains. A ruler obsessed with survival, a god who traded an eye just to see a little further than everyone else. A tyrant who built Valhalla not out of honor but necessity. Valhalla is not heaven. It is a machine. Every day the dead slaughter each other. Every night they rise again. No rest, no release, all to prepare for a war Odin knows he cannot win. Freya stands opposite him, not on a throne, not behind walls. She moves between worlds. She knows war, yes, but also hunger, desire, birth, and decay. She practices seer magic that bends fate instead of fighting it. Odin publicly condemns it. Privately, he learns it from her. That is the balance. And when the first great wars tear through Midgard, the rule emerges, unspoken, uncomfortable. Half the fallen to Odin, half to Freya. The god of war accepts this division, because even he knows he cannot claim everything. The battlefield becomes a slaughterhouse. Iron splits bone, shields shatter. The smell of blood mixes with wet earth and sweat. Men fight not for gods, but for memory, to be remembered, to matter. Above them, shadows move. The Valkyries descend. Not merciful, not cruel, precise. They do not choose randomly. They watch. A man who charges screaming into impossible odds. A man who refuses to retreat even when victory is gone. A man who kills not because he must, but because it defines him. Some are marked for Valhalla. Others feel a different pull. They awaken not in a hall of noise, but in open space. Fólkvangr, a field stretching endlessly. Quiet enough to hear your own heartbeat again. No forced battles, no endless drills. Freya walks among them. She does not command, she observes. These warriors are not broken. They are preserved, their hunger intact, their will sharpened. And this is where the story becomes dangerous. Because Freya does not prepare for Ragnarok. She prepares for what Ragnarok destroys and what comes next. Half the fallen do not belong to Freya by chance. They belong to her because she understands something Odin never fully accepted. War ends, but desire doesn't, and fate listens more closely to those who know the difference. Here's where the myth stops behaving. The old stories say Freya receives half the fallen, as if it were a gift. But gifts do not require first choice, and Freya always chooses first. This is the detail that unsettles scholars, because in Norse culture, first choice equals dominance. Not romance, not mercy, power. Freya does not collect warriors for battle formations. She does not drill them. She does not march them toward prophecy. She lets them remain themselves. That is the danger. These warriors are bound by loyalty, desire, and hunger, not duty. They are not weapons. They are influence. Freya rules the forces Odin cannot command. Love, lust, grief, obsession, rebirth. And her magic seiðr does something Odin's runes never fully achieve. It bends probability. It tilts fate sideways. Odin's wisdom seeks outcomes. Freya's magic reshapes motivations. This is why Odin learns from her in secret. Why he tolerates her claim over the dead, because an army may win a war. But belief rewrites the future. Here is the darker interpretation whispered between the lines. Freya knew Ragnarok could not be stopped, so she did not try. She invested in what survives it. Every soul in Fólkvangr becomes part of her mythic gravity. Souls tied not to a single apocalyptic moment, but to the renewal after collapse. When Ragnarok finally breaks the world, it does so without mercy. The sky cracks, the sun dies, the sea swallows the land. Odin charges forward, surrounded by everything he prepared. And it still isn't enough. The wolf closes its jaws. Wisdom ends in silence. Thor falls. Tyr bleeds out. The great war god is consumed by the war he built his life around. Valhalla empties, the endless training, the feasting, the roaring pride, all erased. But something remains. After the fire recedes, after the ash settles, life returns. Grass grows where bodies burned. Children are born into a quieter world, and Freya still walks it. The irony cuts deep. Odin feared death so much that he chained himself to it. Freya accepted death and therefore outlived the war. One god clung to control, the other trusted cycles. That is why this myth endures, because it reflects a truth civilizations learn too late. Those who prepare only for conflict vanish with it. Those who prepare for renewal inherit what remains. So remember this sentence. The goddess of love owned half the dead, and no god dared challenge her claim. Not because she was gentle, but because she understood something older than war. Power is not who commands the battlefield. Power is who decides what matters after the battlefield is gone. And here's the question worth leaving open. If Freya chose the fallen, who trained the choosers? Because the Valkyries were not always servants of the gods. Some legends say they were once mortal. Some say they rebelled. Some say they chose, wrong, and paid for it. And when that story surfaces, Valhalla begins to look less like a reward and more like a trap dressed in gold. That mystery waits in the dark,